Alright guys, today we're going to read The Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr. We're going to read this document throughout the 9 weeks because it is really long. Today we're just going to read paragraphs 1 through 5. You can find the paragraph numbers over here on the left side. So paragraph 1, 2, etc. Another thing you need to know about this document that we'll use all 9 weeks is on the right side is where we will take notes. Each day we'll take notes on a section that we read. The task will vary depending on what we're learning for the day. So today we're going to work on main idea. So in each of these boxes, we're going to write the main idea of the paragraph next to it. Read along with me and annotate as I annotate. So take notes as I take notes. My dear fellow clergymen are ministers. While confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling my present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. If I sought to answer all the criticisms that crossed my desk, my secretaries would have little time for anything other than such correspondence in the course of the day, and I would have no time for constructive work. But since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill and that your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I want to try to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. So in paragraph 1, what he's essentially telling us, or the main idea, is that the ministers he's writing to, so the ministers think that Dr. King is being unwise and untimely. Unwise means he's not being very smart, and untimely means he's doing things at the wrong time. So the ministers think King is being unwise, right? And King wants to answer their claims. That's why he's writing this letter. He's writing it to answer their claims. So again, you should have this written on your page as well. So the ministers think that King is being unwise and that he really shouldn't be protesting just yet. And King wants to respond to them in this letter to tell them why he's right in what he's doing. Let's move to paragraph 2. I think I should indicate why I'm here in Birmingham, since you've been influenced by the view which argues against outsiders coming in. I've the honor of serving as the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization operating in every southern state, with headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. We have some 85 affiliated organizations across the South, and one of them is the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. Frequently, we share staff, educational, and financial resources with our affiliates. Several months ago, the affiliates here in Birmingham asked us to be on call to engage in a nonviolent direct action program if such were deemed necessary. We readily consented, and when the hour came, we lived up to our promise. So I, along with several members of my staff, am here because I was invited here, because I have organizational ties here. So Dr. King is telling them why he came to Birmingham. The ministers think outsiders shouldn't worry about other people, right? So if you're not from Birmingham, you shouldn't worry what happens in Birmingham. So they don't think outsiders should come in, right? But King is telling them that he's the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and they have an office in Alabama, right? The Alabama Movement for Human Rights. So King came to Birmingham, and I'm just going to abbreviate that, because, whoops, that was supposed to say because. 1, he was invited. And 2, his organizational ties, which means, like we said up here, that he has an office here, right? He has a group that he works with here. So he came to Birmingham because he was invited and because he works here. Okay. Right, next. But more basically, I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. Just as the prophets of the 8th century BC left their villages and carried their "Thus saith the Lord" far beyond the boundaries of their hometowns, and just as the Apostle Paul left his village of Tarsus and carried the gospel of Jesus Christ to the far corners of the Greco-Roman world, so am I compelled. And hold on here. So he's saying he's in Birmingham because there's injustice. So he's not just there because he was invited. He's there to fight for freedom. Right? And then he starts making these comparisons. He compares himself to a prophet. He compares himself to the Apostle Paul. And just like they're carrying the gospel of Jesus, right, he's going to go on to tell us he's carrying the message, right, the message or the gospel of freedom. So he's there to fight for freedom. That's really why he's there. Flip on over to the next page. So he's there to carry the gospel of freedom beyond his own hometown. Like Paul, he must constantly respond to the Macedonian call for aid. Moreover, I'm cognizant or aware of the interrelatedness of communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. So a garment is a piece of fabric. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. All right, I want you to take a second and I want you to tell me what is the main idea of paragraph 4. All right, I've done the first 3 for you. What is the main idea? Look at the things that I underlined and put them in your own words. Tell me what King is saying. When you finish that, start the movie up again. All right, so you should be done with the main idea of paragraph 4, and we'll talk about that at the end, and you should have written it down. Now we're going to read paragraph 5. You deplore, which means to hate, you deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham, but your statement, I am sorry to say, fails to express a similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstration. I am sure that none of you would want to rest content with a superficial kind of social analysis that deals merely with the effects and does not grapple or deal with the underlying causes. It's unfortunate the demonstrations are taking place in Birmingham, but it's even more unfortunate that the city's white power structure left the Negro community with no alternative. All right, I'm going to highlight one other part here. All right, I also want you to tell me what is the main idea of paragraph 5. Again, put this in your own words. What's the main idea of paragraph 5? Think back to the lines that I've underlined. Right? The conditions that brought about demonstrations. It's unfortunate that the demonstrations are taking place, but more unfortunate that the city's white power structure left us no alternative. What is King saying here? Right? When you finish this, move on to the next task on Blackboard.